All right, welcome. I know we have some people in with us already, and some people are joining slowly. I see the bubbles on their computers. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Katie Akins, and I'm with the Arizona Farm Bureau Ag in the Classroom program. And we are super excited to bring back our virtual Ag Tour series for our 2022-2023 school year. And I couldn't be more excited to be starting with one of our favorite farms, which is Mortimer Farms. You guys are gonna get to learn all about them today, and specifically the berries that they are producing on the farm as we speak. So a couple of sort of housekeeping things as we get started. I'm sorry, it feels like my eyes are bouncing, but I'm admitting people as I'm doing this. So thanks for bearing with us. A couple of housekeeping things. If you have any questions throughout our tour today, which is going to be anywhere from about 30 to 40 minutes, please feel free to put them in the chat box. And once they're in the chat box, I will break in and ask them when appropriate to our speakers. That's probably the best way to do it. We currently have you all on mute, and we ask that you all stay on mute for the duration of the virtual tour. That would be super helpful to us. So again, go ahead and type all of those amazing questions I know that you will have in the chat box as we move through today's virtual tour. We are also recording this virtual tour. So if you only can join us for part of it this morning, be sure to check our social media pages at AZFB AITC later on this afternoon, and the full video recording will be available for you and your students. We will also send that out via our teacher email list. So if you get emails from us here at Arizona Farm Bureau Ag in the Classroom, that link will be sent directly to you as well. So without further ado, I think we're going to go ahead and get started with our Mortimer Farms berry tour. And to begin, I would like to actually start with a video that will help you guys learn a little bit more about Mortimer Farms and what they do on the farm and the things that are important to them there on the farm. And then I will introduce you to our very special guest, Ashlee Mortimer, who will teach us all about the berries.
Have you ever wondered how food gets from the farm to your plate? Today we're talking about water conservation. We're talking about how we work with Mother Nature, how passionate we are about growing food, caring for the environment, and working with cattle to grow food for you. Welcome to Mortimer Farms.
I work here por 23 años y me gusta aquí trabajar porque todo el tiempo hacemos algo diferente. 2 días por semana vamos a plantar árboles a fresque. 4 días trabajamos aquí en el farm. Otras veces ponemos fence y estoy contento. Todos ustedes siento como que son de mi familia y por eso estoy contento.
Water conservation is vital to what we do here at Mortimer Farms and farms across Arizona and the country. This farm used to be irrigated by what we call flood irrigation. That's when you flood the entire field and that water seeps into the soil. We have transferred from flood irrigation to pivot irrigation and drip irrigation because it saves 95% of the water that historically was used on this farm. Another way that we conserve water is through permanent crops. We have blackberries here at the farm, strawberries, we have an apple orchard and a peach orchard, asparagus plants, because they have an established and deep root system, and so they take less water. Our goal as farmers and ranchers is to feed this generation and transfer our land to the next generation and continue to feed future generations.
So here at Mortimer Farms, we care for the environment every day by taking care of the land. What we do today can continue to be done for generations to come. So I want my grandkids to be right here on the same land, doing the same thing that we're doing today, and be able to share that experience with our children and with families in our community. And so for me, this is a passion and a love that I have for this industry, for this farm, that I can't even put into words. But it really does put back onto us a huge responsibility to make sure that everything that we do every day is looking to what is the best for our environment, what is the best for our future, and protecting that every way that we can.
Soil health is a vital part of what we do here at Mortimer Farms. With healthy soil, we are able to work directly with Mother Nature to produce delicious, healthy, and abundant crops. One of the ways that we benefit the soil is by the use of cattle. As we put cattle out on our fields, they aerate the soil with their hooves, and they also spread fertilizer throughout the soil, which both benefit the soil and our crops immensely. We love working with Mother Nature to create this symbiotic relationship. One of the ways that we ensure that we are doing our jobs is by testing the soil continuously and constantly to make sure that the soil is doing what we want it to do and that the soil is healthy and is able to produce the best crops for your family.
So here at Mortimer Farms, we have a farm store where people can just come in, where we've picked all of our vegetables or some of our berries and stuff. We put them in there so they can come and eat them and buy them just straight out of the store, or they can come out to our fields and get the whole experience of actually picking those vegetables and berries all by themselves and really learn that your food just isn't from a grocery store.
We're looking forward to having your family visit us in Dewey, Arizona at Mortimer Farms. We're open all year round, 7 days a week, where your family can connect to the story of your food.
Well, I love that video. That is such a great video that Mortimer Farms put together. And if you want to use it or show it somehow in the past, or in the future rather, the link is in the comments section. So if you look in that chat section, you'll see the link to that video and also another video that they did when they were highlighted with the news and their berries. But without further ado, I would now like to turn it over to the star of today's show, Miss Ashlee Mortimer. Good morning, Ashlee.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to take you along on a day of what it's like in the berry fields here at Mortimer Farms.
And it appears that you are sitting currently in the blackberry field.
I am, yes. I'm squatting in the blackberry field, so my feet are starting to fall asleep, but I am here. The blackberries are just about at the end of the season, but their vines are still beautiful. So I'm excited to show you all of the vines and some berries that are still on the plants and talk all about them.
Awesome. Well, hey, before we even get started, we have a question from a student at Garfield Elementary, and they would like to know, what is your favorite berry? I know we're talking blackberries and strawberries, but they want to know what your favorite video or berry is, rather.
Great question. My favorite berry is a blackberry, especially right off the vine when they are so ripe that they're falling apart. When I'm pulling them off the vine, they are absolutely delicious. So sweet, so juicy, and just melt in your mouth, fall apart. So good. Right off the vine is the best way to eat a blackberry, and they are my favorite berry.
Well, then I guess that's good that we're going to start learning about blackberries first today. You just let me know when you would like me to move on to the next slides. All right.
All right. I'm ready for the next slide.
All right.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. So blackberries are a great crop that we have here at the farm. It's one of our most popular crops, and we planted it for the first time in 2018, which is the field that I am sitting in right now. It's 1 acre, which is the same size as a football field. And there are 1,400 bushes in this 1 acre of a field. And this field is going to be producing blackberries for 20 years. So you're going to be far out of school by the time that these blackberries are done producing and ready to be replaced with the next crop that will be in this field. And that's one of the reasons that blackberries are my favorite crop. Not only are they delicious, but every year we know that they're going to be here. They love this soil. They thrive in this area. They have the perfect amount of water, great soil, and all of the different things that they need to be a good producing plant. And so when the year comes and the season comes for them to have blackberries, we know that there's going to be blackberries. And so that reassurance and that constant year after year having blackberries is very amazing and one of my favorite things about blackberries. We also planted 2 more acres this year of blackberries, and we planted more blackberries on each acre. We call it high density planting. And so in that area, there is 3,600 blackberry bushes, and they are this tall and so cute. Little blackberry bushes are, I didn't realize that they're my favorite little plant, but little plants are just so cute to me, and their little leaves and I don't know, just the littleness of things. Baby animals, baby people, baby plants. I love all things babies. And so those little blackberry bushes and vines are so cool. So next year we are going to start harvesting from that second field. It takes about a year for those plants to establish, get a deep and healthy root system, get watered, grow, and then next year we are going to start harvesting from our second field. So we are going to have 4,000 bushes of blackberries next year that we are going to be harvesting from. All right, I'm ready for the next slide.
Now, Ashley, a question for you on those cute little blackberry bushes that you get. How are those planted? Are they hand planted, or do you have some sort of device that helps you?
Great question. So the blackberries this year when we planted them, we hand planted all of them. We do have a transplant planter, we call it, that rotates and helps us plant all of the plants. It digs the hole, we put the plant in it, and then covers the hole. But the blackberry bushes are a little too tall for that planter that we have. And so we go in and hand plant all of the blackberry bushes.
Wow. That's a lot of work. Do you have a lot of people helping you?
We don't have tons of people. We have about 6 full-time farm labor people, and then seasonally we bring in additional people to help in the fields, which I am in awe is the only way I can describe, almost speechless, of how hardworking people on the farm are. And my parents both work on the farm and are 2 of the hardest workers ever. And then our farm crew, they work so many hours. They work in the heat of the day, manual labor, planting and harvesting and pulling weeds and doing all of the things that we have to do to grow food. And they are just absolutely incredible. And so huge shout out, not only to the people that are working on our farm, but all across Arizona and the country. It's a lot of hard work to grow food. And I just am so thankful for all of the people that are working to do all of that really hard labor of not only planting blackberry bushes, but all of the steps to get food onto our plates. All right, which just kind of goes into what we were just talking about. We plant our blackberry bushes from transplants, which essentially are baby plants. And we do that because we are able to buy plants from the Arkansas State Breeding Program, and they have already planted the seed and let those plants grow and establish some root system and some vines and some bark. And so it accelerates how fast we will be able to start harvesting. By the time we get the plants, they're about a year old. Then we plant them, and then they're in the ground getting established in that deep root system for another year. And then when they're 3 years old is when they are starting to grow and ripen blackberries that we can harvest. So the Arkansas State Breeding Program has an amazing breeding program, and we partner and work with them to see what specific varieties will do well in our soil and our climate and our weather. And so we grow currently 2 different varieties of blackberries, the Machaz and the Poncha, and both are great in our environment and for our soil and our weather, and both produce delicious, huge blackberries. Some of the blackberries that we have are, here's my hand, about this big, the size of my palm is some of the blackberries that we will harvest from these plants. And then others are really small, just like a penny size. So a large variety of sizes, all super sweet when they are harvested. When they're dark purple is when they're the sweetest. And harvest starts the first year after planting. We talked about that, and I'm just going to say it again because it's absolutely amazing that these plants are harvested from and producing blackberries for 20 years.
Now, Ashlee, I know you said that you grow from transplants, but we have some students who are wondering, can you grow blackberries from seeds?
Yes, absolutely. You can grow any type of plant from seed. It's just creating the ideal growing conditions for that baby plant. When they are babies and when you're growing them from seed to the size of when we plant them in transplants, that's a very vital part of their life, and a part that a lot of times those plants won't make it if they're not in a great growing condition and have all of the things that they need to thrive. And so that's one of the reasons that we grow transplants, is the plants that don't make it are a lot less than if we were to start all the way from seed.
That makes sense.
All right, water. Water is such a huge part of farming and growing food. And one of the reasons, so many reasons why I like blackberries, but another reason why I like blackberries is because they're a permanent crop. They have a chance to establish a really deep root system. And with that really deep root system, they require less water. So we water slow and deep, which means that we do a light drip on our fields and we water for a longer period of time. And that water really soaks all the way down deep into their root system and is able to last longer, so we can water them less often. We usually, when we don't have a great monsoon, will water them every 7 to 10 days, and that's about a week and a half, unless we get rain. This year, we have not had to water our blackberries in over 2 months because of the amazing monsoons that we've gotten.
And Ashlee, can you maybe explain just really briefly how those are watered with drip and what exactly that means?
Yes, definitely. So I'm going to try and turn the camera around and show you. Okay, so here is our blackberry field, and the blackberries grow on a trellis system. So let me back up a little bit so I can show you. The trellis system is these posts, and we connect wires to that post and connect all of the branches to this post. So you can see right here, we have a tie that connects this branch to the post, and it holds the blackberries up And as they grow, we add additional trellis system above so they become taller. And then on this trellis system, we also have the drip irrigation line, which is this black line right here. It comes out of the ground. You can kind of see it through the blackberry bushes, but it comes out of the ground and comes up on this trellis system. And the reason we have it elevated is so that we can monitor it and make sure that all of the nozzles are not clogged and everything is watering correctly. And then this drip system, let me try and find one of the holes. Let's see, well, so this drip system has holes throughout the line and it just slowly drips, kind of like if you leave the water, or if you have a slow drip in your sink in your kitchen or in your bathroom and it just barely drips, slow drips. That's what this line does. And it has holes at every plant and goes all the way down the entire row to the end and just drips slowly and allows for that slow and deep watering to occur. All right, now fertilizer. I'm gonna put us back up on my stand over here so we can talk about fertilizer. Okay, so fertilizer is very important. It's just like us feeding our bodies. We have to feed our plants. And in order to do that, we test our soil. So we know what nutrients the soil has and doesn't have. And we also test the leaves of the plant. So a few times a year, we will take samples of the leaves just like this. We just take them right off the plant and send them to a lab to be tested. And both of those tests, the leaf test and the soil test, allows us to know what nutrients the plant needs and what nutrients the soil needs. And with those two informations, we are able to give our plants and our fields the correct fertilizer they need to thrive. And fertilizer, like I was just saying, is food for the plant. And that really helps the plants thrive and helps us be able to grow healthy plants that produce delicious food. So, one of the fertilizers, go ahead.
Oh, we had a question to, wanting to know if your blackberries then are considered organic.
So our farm is not certified organic, but we grow as if we were. And I like to say that we are better than organic even. We work directly with Mother Nature, just like farms all across Arizona and the country. And our goal is to create that natural balance and to promote beneficial insects and promote ideal growing conditions so that we can grow food here at the farm. And so we do a lot of natural means, like planting plants close to blackberry bushes that attract bugs away from the blackberry bushes, or plants near the blackberry bushes that attract birds so that the birds will go and enjoy that other plant instead of our blackberries in our crops that we are harvesting and growing for our customers. And one of the things that we use quite often is called fish emulsion. And it's very similar to bone meal. It's a liquid fertilizer that is the byproducts of the fish industry. So it is a natural means that gives our plants nutrients and vitamins that they need in order to grow delicious food. And it is rich in nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and contains calcium, magnesium, sulfur, chlorine, and sodium, which are all things that plants and soil need in order to grow food. And it is a concentrate. So we put the concentrate into water, and that extends how much of that product we have. And so we can use a small amount of the product, add water, and use it for a lot of our crops here at the farm. We use fish emulsion on. All right, pruning. Pruning is always nerve-wracking to me, especially with the blackberry vines, because every dormant season, the blackberries go to sleep and almost look dead, just like this picture is showing. And we clip back almost all of the vines, which this is why it's a little scary to me looking at it every year. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're almost gone. And then every year they grow back to me just like they are right now. But that is the way that we help the plants continue to produce. So we take off the old growth and we allow the new growth to continue year after year. And so that new growth is left on the vine, and then we tie that up to the trellis system. And that's the growth that will produce for the next year. And then during the spring is when they grow again. So in about March is when all of the beautiful green leaves start growing. And then by May or June is when we start harvesting from these plants. And then we stop harvesting usually in the beginning of August, but this year we're going a little bit longer. There's still a few blackberries to harvest. And really I equate that to how much rain that we've gotten and great sunny days amongst those rainy days that really allow blackberries to thrive. This is a beautiful picture of blackberries. This is one of our guests that comes out into the field quite often and harvests her own blackberries. And that's one of the things that we do here at our farm is we allow our guests to come out into the fields and harvest their own food and really connect to where food comes from and get their hands dirty and learn how to harvest all the different things that we harvest. So this is one of my favorite pictures. It's a rainy day and she has a container full of blackberries and those beautiful leaves and vines are just gorgeous.
Now, Ashlee, we know that you allow your guests to do you pick, which everybody always enjoys doing. But what if you have a day where there's not a lot of guests, but you have ripe blackberries? How do you get all of those blackberries then?
Those amazing workers that I was talking about earlier are part of our harvesting crew as well. And so we harvest, even if we do have a lot of guests, we still go in and harvest blackberries. We, this year, harvested about 20,000 pounds of blackberries from this one field. And the guests are part of that, and our amazing team is part of that. We sell our blackberries wholesale to other farmers in Arizona and to restaurants and to breweries. And we also sell blackberries through our country store that's here on our property. We sell blackberries through farmers markets. We go both to the Prescott Farmers Market and the Flagstaff Farmers Market. And then we allow guests to come out and harvest their own. So there's quite a few avenues for the blackberries. And no matter where we go, it seems like blackberries are one of the most popular things that we have on the table.
Now, Ashlee, I'm going to give you the opportunity to answer. If you need to throw it back my way, feel free to as well. But this is a great question. How do you start blackberries from seed if you eat the blackberries? How do you get the seeds from the blackberries? How does that work?
Ooh, you know, I've never done this. So you probably will be a better answerer of this question, Katie.
So you don't take the actual seeds from the berries to plant your crop. Much like other crops, you wouldn't take necessarily your lettuce and somehow try and figure out how to get the seed. Instead, the farmers will actually grow crops specifically for seed. So instead of harvesting specifically the crop, they continue to let the plants grow, and those flowers will go to what they call seed instead of becoming the fruit, and then they will harvest that seed that will then later be planted. Now, I know with blackberries, I have blackberries at my house, and they send out shoots everywhere. So I started with 3 blackberry plants. And because of that, because of them sort of creating their own offshoots, I have like, I don't know, 7 or 8 blackberry bushes now because they just sort of multiply as they're there, which is pretty cool. But if they're looking to get seeds, they can get seeds. But as you guys do, we very much recommend that they get the transplants. And usually you can get the transplants from stores, which is pretty cool. All right, now we are, oh, I can't believe it already. We're at a half an hour, and I know we are going to be moving on to strawberries, and you have a teeny little walk to strawberries. So I don't know if you want to start that walk. Can you walk and talk through the farm?
I can walk and talk. Let's do it.
While you are walking though, up on the screen, you guys can see some of the amazing pictures that come from their farm. All of these pictures have been taken by guests that visit their farm and from their social media. So if you want to see more of these amazing pictures, please just hop onto Mortimer Farms on any of their social media channels. But there is a blackberry right there, almost ready to be eaten, which is Miss Ashlee's favorite part. So we are going to be moving on now to our strawberries. So if you guys have any last questions on blackberries, get those in the list and we will make sure to get them answered on this walk. One of them, the questions, Ashlee, still with the blackberries is, how do you find bugs, or do you find bugs in your berries? Is that a problem? Or if there's bugs on the plants, how do you guys manage the bugs?
At this time, we've been very fortunate and have not had any bug problems. And really overall at our farm, we don't have very many bug problems, which is awesome. And kind of what I was talking about earlier, having beneficial or working with different plants, depending on what plant will attract any bugs that we do have a problem with, is one of the ways that we help combat that challenge if we do have it. So butterfly bushes, for example, attract a lot of insects to those butterfly bushes, so they leave our crops alone and go to those butterfly bushes. Or there's varieties of roses do the same thing, and a lot of crops that you're able to do that with, plant different plants next to them to attract the bugs away from the crop that you're growing.
What a great way, as you said, to really use Mother Nature to your advantage and to work with her as opposed to working against her. I love that. Well, we have your last slide on here for blackberries, which just absolutely blows my mind in your the end of June, beginning of August season, with those 3 acres that you will have in production next season. And you guys anticipate 60,000 pounds of blackberries in the 2023 season, which is just absolutely amazing to me. I love it.
Yes, it is going to be amazing. So anybody that is interested in picking blackberries, please come help us harvest, because we are going to have a lot of blackberries to harvest next season.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and you should be highlighted so everybody can see you nice and big. If you guys are having a hard time, make sure you go to your view settings and click speaker, and then you should see Ashlee nice and big on your screen so we can check out these strawberries.
All right, awesome. So I am in the strawberry field. I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see how large this strawberry field is. I wish I would know the exact acres, but I always forget them. But it is a huge field. The trees over there, we have our vegetables planted along those trees. And so you can kind of see right there how that the tomatoes are planted right there, that taller crop. And then from those tomatoes all the way this way, these are all strawberry plants all the way to that road right there. And going this way, right there is some corn that we have planted, and that is where the strawberries go this way. So lots and lots of strawberries. Strawberries are right behind blackberries in our most popular crops here at the farm. Our guests love fruit, and so we plant a lot of strawberries. Strawberries are a 5-year crop. This field is on its 2nd year, and so it's just starting to produce. And I'm going to show you all of the different stages of a strawberry plant. So here's one of our strawberry plants. We have the flowering stage where it's blooming, and then we have all of the stages in between. Here is a small strawberry, and then see, here is a larger strawberry. There's some more blooms. I'm gonna try and find one of the plants that has some more of the stages in between the blooms and the strawberries. So here we go. All right, so we have a bloom, like we were just talking about, bloom, and then look at all of these in between stages. So this is the next stage. That bloom turns into a fruit. And then it keeps growing and growing and growing, goes from green to more of a white, to a little bit of a pink, to a little more pink, all the way until it is a red, ripe strawberry, just like that one. Now, strawberries are in high demand. Like I was just talking to you about, we have so many acres of strawberries because we have so many guests that like to come out and harvest these strawberries. And so with that, we just had a pretty busy strawberry weekend. And so there aren't tons of ripe strawberries out here right now, but there are blooms and a lot of little strawberries that are becoming ripe. And then, as you can tell, we also have some strawberries that weren't harvested when they were ready. So they are starting to dry out. And usually we'll just leave those on the vine, just like this, so that they can help fertilize this plant. We also have black plastic. Our black plastic helps us extend our growing season. It helps the roots of these plants be warm when it is a little chilly out still, and helps us have a longer season, as well as helps us prevent weeds. Where the black plastic is, we have holes for the strawberry plants to come out of the black plastic, but not holes for the weeds. And so the weeds can't reach the sunlight and don't grow. And then underneath of this black plastic, we have a line of drip irrigation, very similar to what the blackberry drip irrigation looks like, except it's underground in this field. So here is this beautiful field. Here's another beautiful plant. Ooh, it's a little muddy out here from the rain. And as the plants get older and more developed, they'll all start looking like this and become more abundant and fuller looking. Like I was saying before, these are all 2-year-old plants in this area. So they are still growing and establishing their root system. Here's another beautiful looking strawberry. So
I want to eat that.
I know, looks so good. And it's similar to the blackberry. Strawberries are all different sizes. This is a medium strawberry. We have other ones that are quite large. And it all depends on the color of the strawberry to know if it is ripe. When they are red all the way around, just like this one is, it is ready to harvest. And I'm going to find another one so I can show you. I picked that one pretty quick, so I didn't show you how to harvest them. Here is a strawberry. It's a little dirty, but it is red all the way around. And you go right above the strawberry and pinch that stem, and that is how you harvest a strawberry. So there we go, 2 strawberries. Next time you guys all come and visit us, you can have some of them. I'll share with you.
Now, Ashlee, like you guys plant the blackberries from transplants, do you also plant the strawberries from transplants?
We do, yes. Pretty much everything that we grow here at the farm, we plant as transplants, vegetable and berry wise. And, ooh, there was a bee. I don't think I can catch him, but that's another very important part of this process is bees to pollinate those flowers and help us turn the flowers into fruit. And here's another strawberry. Delicious. This might be my breakfast this morning, is all these strawberries I'm harvesting. I'm trying to walk over a few rows because we just planted part of this field with transplants. So they're a little bit littler of the plant, and you can see more what it looks like when they're first planted. I'm gonna go this way.
Now, actually, it looks like in the black tarps, there's lots of holes that don't have strawberry plants in them. Are those ones that you did plant in those holes and something happened with the bush, or what are all the extra holes?
Yes, great question. So this is the transplants that we planted this year. This is one of the baby plants that will start producing next year. And this plant right next to it is one that did not make it. And so that is the case quite often with strawberries is for whatever reason, the plants just don't thrive. And so we each year we'll go back and replant any holes that did not survive. And a lot of times it's the weather. We plant these and we could have a frost, or we could have a lot of rain, or we could have not enough sunshine, and these plants just don't make it through that. And so we'll go back and replant if that is the case.
Okay, well, as you're walking, we've got about maybe 3 more minutes left. That'll get us to that 45-minute mark. So if you have any questions, speed type them into that chat section so we can get Miss Ashlee to answer them while she's still on the line with us. Of course, if you come up with any other questions throughout the day, you can always email them over to us at AITC@azfb.org. And if we don't have the answer, we will definitely get in touch with Ashlee to get that answer for you.
Awesome. Well, I just am coming to pretty much the end of this field. We have a little bit of a strawberry area right here. And one of our amazing guys, he's out there harvesting. Jose has worked for our family for 33 years, and he is one of the amazing people that helps us grow food here at the farm. And I think he's harvesting. Out there we have squash that he's harvesting. So anyways, that is our strawberry field. And if there are any questions, like Katie said, ask them away and we'd love to answer them.
Ashlee, when is harvest season for strawberries on your farm? I know you guys have a festival, but what are the main months for strawberries?
Strawberry harvest is the end of May through the beginning of October usually. And with that, we do have a high demand for strawberries. So sometimes throughout the season, we'll have less strawberries available because they were harvested and we're letting the crops catch up with that demand.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to make you little again, just so that I can get your contact information there up on the screen. We actually have your email address on there. Hopefully you don't get inundated, but I'm sure they will have amazing questions for you. So thank you again, Ashlee, for taking time this morning to highlight what you guys do on your farm there in Dewey, Arizona at Mortimer Farms, specifically with all of your amazing berries. Our chat box is filling with thank you, thank you, thank you for the virtual visits, and they've learned so much. So thank you for your time, and maybe we'll catch up with you again in a different season for a different crop.
Well, thank you so much for having us on. We always love to come and chat with schools across Arizona. And you're more than welcome to send me emails, questions, or anything else. And thanks again, Katie. It was great to hang out with you all this morning.